Hi Year 12, this is your feedback for your short answers in your third assessment task. We're going to work through this. Hopefully you have the printed sheet in front of you as well as your exam. So to start off with, it's really important that you take on this feedback as well as your feedback from task 1 and task 2 to inform you and really prepare you for the trial. And we know that that is not very far away at all. So what I wanted to do was to start off this feedback by getting you to think about the content, which was very clearly indicated to you on the notification, MR2, MI3, MP2, MP4. This is not like the HSC at all. In the HSC, we have no idea what the questions are going to be, no idea what the content areas are going to be. So although this content could be asked in the HSC, obviously, we're not going to know that before we go in, that it's definitely going to be asked. So what I really want us to focus on, therefore, is this idea of the skills, okay? Or what skills do we want to reflect on from this assessment task and build upon moving towards the trial in the HSC? The first skill that I want you to think about is your ability to actually answer the question. Not just dumping information, not just writing everything you know, rather actually responding to what the question is asking. The second one is using and interpreting from a stimulus and how well you've done this, okay? Are you succinct? Did you write on all of those extra lines? Because essentially, you should be able to receive 4 marks in the lines given to you for a 4-mark question. So a lot of you, I think because you had extra time, thought, oh, I'll just fill those extra lines where it may not actually be usable or appropriate for you to do that in the HSC. The fourth skill is this idea of using the mark value to influence your answer, and a few of us struggled with this, especially in that 5 marker, which was the discuss. We didn't really take into consideration that if it's a 5 marker, we need to give benefits and limitations. So we kind of didn't focus on that mark value as influencing us. And obviously the skill of knowing your stuff, remembering and recalling your content. So what I want you to do now is pause this and have a look at your response. Reread your answers, have a look at the in-text feedback. What I want you to do is for these 5 skills here, is I want you to prioritize them. 1 is the skill you need to work on the most. 5 is the skill that you think you've mastered. So have a look at your response, have a look at the feedback, think about how you feel in regards to these skills and prioritize them now, please. All right, what this will do is give you an idea of what you've got to work on. So your number 1 and your number 2, you've obviously got to focus on those quickly before the trial to try and fix that up. Okay, the first question gave you a stimulus about a health clinic who are yet to clearly identify their target market. You should have thought about what info and issues can I take from this even before you read the question. So when I did it, I thought about a health clinic. That's what they're providing. That's their good or service. And then I was thinking, what would that impact? What would a health clinic do? Who would they be marketing towards? What type of goods and services would they be providing? The second most important part in the stimulus was this idea that they didn't have a clear target market. And I thought, what is the implication of this? How is this going to negatively, because we know it's probably a negative, going to affect the business? So the first question was, and now guys, you need to do this on your stimulus. This should have been annotated and many of yours were left blank. It's really concerning when you're marking work and you can see that this has not been annotated at all. So if that's your paper, you need to fix that. The first question was, why should this business conduct market research? Why is to give reasons, or as I like to say, why bother? Why bother do it? Why bother doing it? So many students provided definitions, and that's that skill that I was talking about of actually answering the question, not just dumping information. I didn't want a definition of market research. I wanted to know why you should use it. Okay, so have a look at your response, and were your reasons clear, extremely clear, somewhat clear, or unclear? What could you do to improve the clarity of your work in this question? Could you have used underlining? Could you have maybe used 2 dot points? What could it have been? The other problem with this one was that many responses lack subject-specific terminology. Having a look at your answer really quickly, can you find any terms in your response that could have been replaced? So if I've maybe put SST or something there, write in the term or phrase you used and think about how you could turn that into or replace it with a subject-specific term. All right, can you pause now and complete all the activities for A? Okay. Here is a sample for you, and this received full marks. So if you didn't receive full marks, this might be a bit of an indication for you to see what you may have needed to do. Part B of the first question was, how can identifying a target market lead to business success? Overall, students understood what a target market is, and that's great. The issue arose that students were not clearly linking a target market to actions or decisions, and this was the missing piece of the puzzle, and therefore it would impact business success. Remember at our HSC day, they were talking about the idea that you do need to link in processes a lot of the time to actually show the impact or the action. Okay, it is important to remember to give clear indicators of business success as well. So this bit here, when we're talking about business success, did you actually give an indicator or a measure of it? What I want you to have a go at is to fill in this table. What is a target market? What impact will having a target market have on business decisions or actions? And then how does this impact business success using measurable indicators? So have a go at that now, please. What I want you to think about is how this table compares to your response. Was there a section missing, and do you think that this impacted your performance or the mark that you received? I also want you to reflect on how well you connected your ideas and showed effect or impact. So can you do that now? So you should have the table done, the questions done, and then having a look at this scale. All right, I now want you to have a look at this sample. Okay, and this sample, you need to have a look at how the sample shows connections, or what does this sample give in terms of showing impact, action, and then overall business success. All right? Okay, hopefully you've done all the activities now for question 1. Question 2, was an Australian company selling snack food for school-aged children. Their products have been proven to be high in sugar and low in fat, despite their advertising that promotes the product as healthy. So straight away, you should have been thinking, there's a problem here. There's some issue. For the fact that it's high in sugar, but being promoted as healthy, they don't quite match up. So what did I take from the stimulus? The snack food is the product, and it's a good. The school-aged children were their target market. This is who they want to eat or influence their parents to buy the product. It's high in sugar, and that made me think about operations. I thought, something about inputs. How is this product being produced? And then it being promoted as healthy, and this idea of it being an issue. I annotated, I wrote this down before I looked at the actual question. So yet again, if your stimulus is blank, it's not setting you up to use the stimulus in your responses below. So question A was, explain how operations and marketing are interdependent. Further subject-specific terms were needed from both units. So you needed subject terms from operations, you need subject terms from marketing. Further connection to the stimulus was needed here. Okay, many of you gave a very theoretical response, and connections were not always given reciprocally, meaning you said how marketing relies on operations, but you didn't say how operations relies on marketing. So what I want you to do is to try and fill in these tables now, okay, and think about the balance. Did you evenly respond to this? So fill in this table now, please. Okay, this sample here is quite a long one. It probably could have worked on being a little bit more succinct, so it's not 100% perfect, but it did receive full marks. What I want you to do is I want you to have a read of this, and if you were given an independence question in the trial, which is possible, Would you do anything differently? Okay, if yes, what? And if no, what was your key to success in getting full marks for this question? All right, off you go. Okay, last question. Discuss the ethical responsibility of marketing managers for this business. It was 5 marks, guys, so you had to give 4 and against. Many of you didn't. Many of you received 3 or 4, and 4 out of 5 was great, but you could have got 5 out of 5. The main reasons were that you did not connect to the stimulus, and this needed to be done at the sentence level, which we're going to focus at. But the second reason was that you didn't provide reasons for acting ethically. So if this business was to change their production and reduce the sugar, this would lead to. Okay, so the following sentence provides accurate and relevant content. Great. However, it does not incorporate the stimulus at a sentence level. What you need to do is you need to read this sentence and you need to rewrite this sentence incorporating, okay, the stimulus. All right, so have a go at this now, please. Hopefully you've done that. What you need to think about in your response is, was your stimulus and content integrated at a sentence level, or were you writing content sentences and then stimulus sentences completely separate? Because them being integrated at a sentence level is what we're after. Okay, here's a sample for you. Again, it's quite a lengthy sample, but they've done a really good job, okay? So what I want you to think about now is how prepared did you feel before the task? Were you walking in happy and ready to go, or were you walking in quite worried? And what I want you to think about is, if you are kind of from this person down, how are you going to change this for the trial? What are you going to do differently, or what are you going to continue to do because it worked well? It is really important that we think about this assessment task 3 as a stepping stone to preparing us for this upcoming trial. So guys, your feedback sheet should now be complete. Have another look through your work, and I hope that you've taken some value out of this. All right, thanks guys.